Evening, ladies and gents, how are you doing? It's another fantastic day to be a diddler in the UK. Sammy Woodhouse, who was herself abused, tortured and impregnated by a barely literate diversity hire, said breaking, Labour will no longer be holding 5 local inquiries into the surprise sex gangs. The £5 million will now go towards locally led work, following feedback from local authorities. Are you surprised? Of course not. Our government is weak, pathetic and an embarrassment. They don't give a damn about children who have been abused. No, they don't. And the locally led work involves purchasing several tons of freshly blowtorched shopping trolley chicken for the local kebab houses and buying Abu Hamza a nice new chrome hook. Right, the reason today's video is about diddlers is because this isn't the only story that's breaking on X. As seems to be a typical day in the UK, you can't move for diddlers. They're absolutely everywhere. Brass Eye did a joke back in the day, saying that British Isles only made sense if you put peed off in front of the word Isles, and it's definitely come true. Jimmy Savile and the BBC was just the veneer. The real problem is apparently tens of thousands of industrial scale diddlers not just plying their trade willy-nilly in the United Kingdom, but being actively assisted by the government to this day. Because look what the other big story is. Conservative MP Katie Lamb addressed Parliament on April 8, 2025, highlighting the government's rejection of national inquiry into the gangs, opting instead for 5 local inquiries. Months after the promise, there has been little progress reported on these local inquiries. The Labour government recently announced the redirection of the £5 million fund initially allocated for these inquiries to locally led work, following feedback from local authorities. Public and political figures have expressed frustration and a demand for justice and transparency regarding the handling of these cases. So it's not just Sammy Woodhouse with an axe to grind, it's official. The powers that be are moving, as usual, to cover it all up because they want this story to go away. Or as Naz Shah famously said, the victims should shut their mouths for the good of diversity. We can listen to Katie Lamb now. One thing worth noting is Jess Phillips has just finished speaking before Katie Lamb gets up. And Jess Phillips, you might remember, thought she was in for a rough time when she gave a victory speech a few months back. Do you remember that? When she got up on stage in Birmingham and got endlessly harangued by a massive mob of hairy, scary men? Yeah, Jess Phillips thought she had it rough then. But let me tell you something. Come 2029, Jess Phillips is going to lose her seat to a radical. What did she win by? About 1,000 votes? Trust me, come 2029, not only will she lose that seat, but she's going to get more than a verbal barracking. Because when the local councillor takes over, she's going to get a thick black religious garment stapled to her head. Then she's going to get chained to the kitchen in the local Bell End church, where she's going to be forced to serve as the tea lady in between regular beatings and gobbling off the 73-year-old imam that runs the place.
In January, the Home Secretary said the government would conduct 5 local inquiries into the gangs which have terrorised so many innocent children. Over 3 months since the government announced these local inquiries, Tom Crowther KC, a barrister invited by the Home Office to help establish them, knows almost nothing about their progress, and neither do we. Why is the framework for local inquiries now being led by ministers rather than by independent voices such as Tom Crowther? Why is the £5 million set aside for inquiries no longer being allocated, but instead delivered on an opt-in basis? And what does the government intend to do about local leaders who say there is no need for an independent inquiry, like in Bradford or in Wales?
I'll stop you there, love. I don't want to make this video boring. If you want to watch the whole thing, I'll put a link to it in the description. But I can answer those 3 whys for you. Don't care, don't care, don't care. Or to give a little bit more detail, it's because they are pandering, as we've all known for many years, to a block vote of one particular ideology who always votes, and technically they get 2, because they all tell the wives what they're voting for, and they do as they're told, and uniformly support Labour. And I've got some receipts via the medium of my local politician, well, former local politician, Andy MacDonald from Middlesbrough. Or to put it another way, by having a quick scroll through his Twitter page, Andy Bin Laden. Because a cursory glance at this absolute weapons X page is truly mind-blowing. You would think his day job was being the fella that dresses up as the angry hissing rabbit that stars on children's television in Palestine.
The latest character to join the programme is Asud the rabbit, and he comes with a backstory. The young viewers are told that Asud entered Gaza from Egypt after Hamas knocked down the border wall in January. The wooden key he wears round his neck, he says, is the key of return to reclaim Jerusalem from the Zionists.
We educate our children about loyalty, love, understanding, and hard work, nothing more. We also teach them that we have lands stolen by the criminal Zionists.
The rabbit replaces Nahul the bee, who gets his fun from tormenting cats and from throwing stones at a caged lion.
I'm sorry, I didn't realise it was going to be that funny. So, from now on, I won't be using Mr. McDonald's real name. I was going to call him Asud after the rabbit for the rest of the video, but I think I prefer Nazul the bee. So, let's have a quick look at Nazul's Twitter page, shall we? Because you'd think as the MP for Middlesbrough, he'd be busy talking about places in Middlesbrough, like Pallister Park. But he never talks about Pallister Park. He likes to talk about Palestine. And if you ever scroll down his page, what do you see? Retweeting Emily Thornberry, crying about Israel. What else have we got? Labour Friends of Palestine, talking about Israel and deportation of British MPs. And you go down, it's crystal clear that Israel is determined to prosecute its genocide. Genocide! There's two sides to every story. It all started with October 7th, but Andy never talks about that. And it's the same all the way down. Look, every post. Israel-Palestine, Israel-Palestine. So there you go, ladies and gents, question asked, question answered. The real reason that the Labour Party has always covered up for the worst type of human scum is very simple. It's because they're pandering to a block vote. Andy Preston, the former mayor of Middlesbrough, who I do like, only lost by about 600 votes. And we know where those 5,600 votes came from. It was from the large community of one particular ideology in Middlesbrough, who the Labour Party consistently panders to and has done for 40 years. You know it, I know it, all the authors of the books, the experts who've talked about the endemic grooming in the United Kingdom, they all know the answer to this question. It's predominantly being committed by one very special group, and that very special group is on the top rung of the social hierarchy. It's being benefited and covered up for and protected by the Labour Party because they are cynically sacrificing your children on the altar of political correctness, and most specifically on the altar of the adherents of the pot-bellied epileptic desert midget plagiarist, because they want more votes, because they're obsessed with power. Angela Rayner proved it when she was on her hands and knees grovelling in the local bell end shaped church near her house. You've all seen it. I don't need to dig the footage up. All right, that's me for the day. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you think I'm completely off base and the Labour Party definitely hasn't been covering up for them, and the cycloptic frisp Gordon Brown definitely didn't send out a circular telling the police to let the diddlers have their wicked way with you kids, please let me know in the comments so I can identify who is partially cited and then pass your details to the authorities so they can have you sectioned. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.